shine through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way.
All right, Happy New Year and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Isaac Walsh, and this is UCAN, Michigan. And I am here with Julie. Say good morning.
Good morning.
All right, she's from Crime Stoppers. But before we get to her, if this is your first time, please go check out UCANMichigan.com. And if you know people that are struggling, which the Lord knows many people are, have them go to UCANMichigan.com and click on struggling. If they have an issue with alcohol or drug rehabilitation, we can get them help within 24 hours just by punching in their information. Or if life has just got you down and things happen and you need some help, please go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. Click on struggling. We got 20 different nonprofits in the area to help people out with food or clothes or mental health or anything that you can think of. We got them on there. Help us, help others, help you. All right. Julie, how are we doing? It's been a year.
Can you believe it?
I can, and it just smoked by.
Yeah, it really did.
Well, first of all, the weather was pretty good last year. I got to be honest. And we had talked, and you said, yeah, we're going to get together. I said, yeah, we're going to get together. And then it was like October, and I'm like, crap, we didn't get together. And you did a lot of stuff, and she had a couple of commercials, which was great, middle of breakfast crime. I'm like, oh, my God, I know that person, which was cool. It did very good for Crime Stoppers. So what were like the major things that you were going over this year that you were able to accomplish that you're happy about?
Yeah, so at this time of the year, I do a lot of reflection, and not only personally but professionally. And with Crime Stoppers, I look to see what we accomplished in the year and then setting goals for the next year. And it's amazing. It's amazing how much we've done since I saw you last.
Yeah, so I got to hear what it was because I remember talking. And we had the stories, which was crazy. And then the one of your father flipping up, which was nuts. And I've told that story probably 20 times, which was cool. It was like a kismet thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to see that one, that's in the prior Julie one. But what I know you had some events last year. What were like some of the highlights that you went through and that you were like excited about?
Well, we had, for our statistics, we had between 500 and 600 tips, and we don't count every one of them, so that's why it's closer to 500 than 600 this year. The reason we don't actually count some of them, they come into our system, but they might be for a different Crime Stoppers program. So we just take that tip, forward it to other Crime Stoppers programs. We all do that across the country. If a tip comes in, because sometimes the tipsters don't understand that a tip for Bay County or a tip for Detroit, so they just think Crime Stoppers. So in a tip that comes into the Detroit area, if it's for our area, they'll forward it to us through our P3 system.
So how many like crimes were like helped or whatever?
This year was a little low compared to previous years. So we had, I think, 18 tips that helped lead to arrests, but we do have other tips that we consider successful in other areas.
Okay.
By not leading to an arrest, but helping with, like there was one that we had for elder abuse, where an arrest wasn't made, but the person who was abusing the elder was taken out of that situation, so this person had a better life to live.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about that is I didn't even realize that was a problem until the sheriff's department had like an elder's abuse. Yeah. So I was like, you got to have like a section? Like this is such a thing? And I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, actually from their summit that they had in 2022, we were able to set up 3 different presentations with 3 different senior centers in the area. And we went and spoke with the seniors about Crime Stoppers and also about some scams that would be happening. Now, we're not the expert on all of that.
Yeah.
We like to just let everybody
Education.
know. Yep, let them know that this is happening. Bring it to your awareness.
Yeah.
Learn about it. So, yeah, that was a neat little how things kind of snowball into working our way into other communities to let them know what we do.
Yeah, and so when we were talking before the show, you said your goal was to reduce your workload.
Well, focus it. Be a little more focused. So
you're saying that was unsuccessful?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, he says. Yeah. That's beautiful.
No, I love my work, and what we were talking about was, at the national level, I do that with Crime Stoppers USA, and it's very beneficial for our program and for national, and the connections we have all across the country are amazing.
No, I find everything that you're doing is very cool. So get into some of the stuff that happened. Like you had a busy year. Like tell us about some of the stuff.
Yeah, well, we had our annual. We used to call it the Crime Victims Resource Fair. We renamed it this past year as the Community Safety Resource Fair.
Okay.
We had it in May at Burston Fieldhouse on the north end of Flint, and it was very successful, but we're hoping to have it even bigger this year, May 11th, from 11 until 11 to 3.
11 to 3, I think.
No, I think it's 11 to 2.
11 to 2, 3 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
people come down there. What is it for?
it is for anyone who needs information or any resources regarding to safety. So we've got almost 30 agencies that come every year, from law enforcement and the prosecutor's office to Voices for Children, Beauty for Ashes, the Genesee Health Systems, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Michigan Civil Rights,
Wow.
all kinds.
And why would the community want to come to this? Like, what would be the purpose?
Well, a lot of people don't understand what is available to them, what agencies are out there for them.
Okay.
Most of it is all free stuff also. It's free to them. So, like Hurley Trauma Center is there. And
Okay.
I know we talked about this last time with my father-in-law being murdered. We didn't know what agencies could be there for us. We didn't realize actually that there was trauma going on.
Yeah.
We didn't realize it. We knew it was a tragedy, but like you just think you can just plug along.
Right.
And so I was thinking about that. Like we didn't know what was available for us. There's other people out there that don't know what
Right.
is available to them. So we try to get the word out that there are services available. I know you do that too. People just don't understand what is out there, and then
Until they need it, and then.
or they'll say there's nothing out there. I don't know where it is, and it's because they don't know how to find
Right.
it.
All right, so before we get into the other stuff, because 30 groups is a lot, I need to take a break.
United Community Addiction Network is one of our strategic partners at Vice Armory, where we are believing that together we can make a bigger difference in the community.
We have a law enforcement program that we offer where we give law enforcement agencies special discounts. We also are a Glock Blue Line dealer, which means we're able to give first responders special discounts. So as our business continues to grow, it allows us to be able to donate more money back to UCAN to help support their causes.
All right, so we were talking about the 30 different groups that come in there. Give me an outline of like who that is.
So
Like you said, the prosecutor comes, and then the sheriff's department's there. But what other like groups are coming in to like help the community with like what you said is community safety?
okay, so just I can't think of off the top of my head more of them that are there.
Yeah. Is there like a website or something that you use to promote this? Can you go to Crime Stoppers to see it?
Yeah, it'll be on there. We don't have our flyer up and ready yet,
Yeah.
but we will have that out there, and we'll list the agencies that are going to be there.
All right, yeah, because I definitely want to work with you that and trying to get a show together to help out with that. Just had to promote the area is going to be fun.
We had the Smooth Steppers there before.
Now, what is that? Smooth Steppers.
Oh, my goodness.
Are those like the clickety-clickety-click people?
No, they're dancers at. They dance at Burston Fieldhouse and
Really?
different events, and they're a group of mostly women, but they do have some men on there, and they are fabulous.
No kidding.
So, yes, yep. So you should check them out, and we have them.
So what kind of dancing are we talking about?
Line
here?
dancing. Yep.
Line.
dancing. Yep.
Line
And
dancing.
it's really fun. We've got some fun things for the kids: face painting, bounce house, and then light refreshments. So that's something we've done at the resource fair.
Yeah.
You had asked about some other things that we've done this past year.
Yeah.
We were actually, when you talk about my workload, is because we've been able to hire some part-time people.
Good.
And so we do, we've already had a project assistant who helps me a lot. And then we've also been able to hire someone who is retired as the resident agent in charge of ATF.
Okay.
And he was on our board of directors, and now he is processing the tips for us.
Wow.
So he understands, all about the anonymity, keeping the tipsters anonymous. Also, he knows all the people in law enforcement, so he knows who to send these tips to, and then he follows up with that. So that's been wonderful. And then something else that's very exciting is we were able to hire 2 part-time community engagement representatives because we get invited to go to a lot of different events. It's very important, especially after COVID. It was important before, but you know how it is after COVID.
So what do they do?
Getting out there.
Engagement. What was it again?
So what they do is they'll go to events around, mostly in the Flint area, and then or in Flint, and then of course in Genesee County as well. And they set up a table at these events.
Okay.
Yep. And so then they'll have that binder.
Do all that.
I can't do it all. So that's why I'm talking about reducing.
I was engagement.
Really,
Like, what's your job? Hey, how are you? That's
well,
kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, except the booth and the Crime Stoppers thing.
Yeah.
Now they get to take that little dog and the.
They'll take Marv McGruff guy, they'll puppet your friend, and they will take that binder of all the unsolved crimes, and it really brings in conversation. A lot of people know someone who's in that book, or just brings up that conversation. And then we hand out our information and just try to educate the community about what we do. A lot of people still don't know, even though we have these PSAs and billboards and things.
So, like, how many of those things do they have to go to a year? I mean, that sounds like a bunch.
Yeah, we go as often as we can.
So are we talking like 10, 15, 20?
No, we usually go to, 30, 40.
30 or 40?
Something, something like that. We do keep track of it.
It's
I just
like
don't have that number.
3 to 4 a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, seasonally is also a little bit more.
Yeah,
in the summer.
Yeah, because you guys are at Back of the Bricks, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think
we were
I
at
saw.
Ducks and Dogs, and then.
Yeah, I took a picture with somebody. I can't remember.
And then National Night Out. A lot of the law enforcement agencies in our county have events, so we all work that day.
All right, so refresh our memory for us that can't remember the. What was that? National Night Out? What was that mean?
National Night Out is in, is it August? I think it's August, yeah. It's nice and hot. And I think it's on the first Tuesday. I could be wrong, but and so that is all about supporting our law enforcement and community engagement with law enforcement.
Okay.
So it's about building relationships.
Sure.
And so it's very, very important to have that
they're
relationship.
here to help, not to hurt. Yeah,
Right.
That's really neat. I remember something going on. It all just fogs together, and
they're all spectacular events. They all host a really good event.
Yeah, they all do a really good time. And so you were kind of telling me about all that stuff. So because myself, it's a question because I got a couple minutes before our first break. It's like out of all of the stuff that you got solved this year, you said you got like 18 major tips into, I think you said for the year. Like which one was like the...
So a lot of them we don't advertise whether we've helped or not because we don't want to jeopardize the safety of our tipsters.
Of course.
Or
And you
the
be as vague as
anonymity.
possible.
Well, there is one that did make the news because law enforcement believed that, they didn't know who the tipster was, and if they couldn't, they're not trying to figure that out, but they also really, really didn't know.
Yeah.
It was covered on MLive, and it was about a tip that came in. You have to read the article, but you can
and they can
pull
find
it
that
up.
on MLive?
Yep, and you just pull up PlayStation, Flint, homicide. Those words together, we'll pull it up. And it was homicide of Deshaun Guthridge. It was a few years back, and a tip had come in, and they just list anonymous tip because law enforcement worked very carefully to make sure that the tip, because our tips can't go into a case file because we have to keep our tipsters anonymous.
Yeah.
And so they were able to do that, keep our tipster anonymous, and still solve the crime. And so this person who has been arrested for the homicide, it's still in the courts.
Yeah.
So it still hasn't been determined, guilty.
Right.
But there was an arrest made in that case, and it's really neat. And law enforcement really thanked us.
The family, they benefited from the work from the tipster and the police and sheriff's department.
Law enforcement does the
All the hard work.
all the hard work, and our tipsters actually, we credit them so much because it really takes a lot to make that call or submit the tip online or on the app. It really takes a lot, so we really like to thank them as well.
All right, well, that works out great. We're already to our first break. So if this is your first time, please like, share, and subscribe. Please check out crimestoppers.com. We'll be right back.
Crime Stoppers of Flint.
Taking a quick break from our podcast, I wanted to let you know about our life application program that we have for churches and nonprofits in the area that are trying to find programming that they can use in case the corona shuts you down and you're not able to get in. You go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. You click on our episodes and you can check out our programs for as little as $29.99 a month to make sure that we're still getting the word out to those people that need it. Now, back to the program. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Isaac Walsh, and this is UCAN Studios, and I'm here with Julie Lopez from Crime Stoppers of Flint, crimestoppersofflint.com, and it does matter, right, as you said, so it's crimestoppersofflint.com, and you can check that out right up there, and we were just getting your list of stuff that you do. I did not realize how busy a person you were until we talked. And we went to go get the first show together, and she's like, yeah. And then you call me back. You're like, listen, I forgot. And you listed like 6 things. And I was like, it's all good. Like, we'll pinch it in on the new year,
I
right?
like to multitask.
You get a lot done, right? I can understand why people want
we have a good team. We've got a great team.
Well, and with that, I can understand why they want you to do a lot of things, because some people don't multitask very well, I'm more of a single tasker. I'm very good at single tasking. You put me on that task and I can task away. But you start to tell me to do multiple things and the train starts to derail off the station.
We've got a great team, so it helps.
Yeah, and just refresh to all those people who haven't seen the first one, which you can go back and check it out if you want. How long have you been doing this?
10 years. I just celebrated 10 years with Crime Stoppers.
10 years.
Yeah.
And you started off, tell people what you had originally gone to school for, because it still blows my mind.
Well, yeah, I thought I wanted to be a dental hygienist, and then I came out of school as a horticulturist.
And ends up working at Crime Stoppers.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow the story. They can go check it out. But that still is one of the cool. I still tell people about that.
Well, I'm still really connected to nature, so that helps keep me grounded with the work that I do with Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, and how you bring it together.
Yeah.
Again,
you
I
have
don't
that
wanna,
healthy balance.
Yeah, and the things and the colors and all. Anyways, it's a great story. I didn't want to get into it, but it was super fun. And so getting back to what we're doing now, you said there was a bunch of things, and during the break you said national awards for something.
Yeah.
What was that one? I like that one.
Yep, we won 3 national awards at Crime Stoppers USA. We were in Denver in November, and one was for public service announcements.
Okay.
Another one was for our billboard campaign that we had done for the $500 flat $500 cash reward for a felon in possession of a firearm initiative.
Okay.
And then and another award, social media. We created a calendar. My assistant did a great job putting this calendar together for other Crime Stoppers programs across the country to utilize to give them some ideas on what to post, like National Night Out. Like, when is your National Night Out? Don't forget to post that. Or January is Human Trafficking Awareness.
Right.
So we're doing a lot. Right now we've got some billboards up, and we've got a public service announcement with Sergeant Dallas from the Genesee County Sheriff's Office on the GHOST team. And it's a great public service announcement to educate the community about what to do about keeping your children safe online. It's a safer digital playground.
So do you have any of those tips that you can give out now? Or
One
do they have to...
that sticks out to me was she was adamant that this would be the last thing on the list, is to make it very impactful, is never allow the children to have their phone or any computer or phone in their bedroom or bathroom.
Really?
Yes, that was one of them. So very, very important. But check it out. It's only a 30-second commercial, and it's got a lot of information on it.
Where do people find that? Like
on YouTube, and our Facebook pages, which is everything is at Flint Crime Stop.
Flint Crime Stop?
Yep.
Or crimestoppersoflint.com?
You could find it that way, I'm sure, on YouTube.
Either
or on our Facebook page.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, because as parents and grandparents, the last thing you want if something happens to those
Yeah.
little babies,
Yeah, and as a parent, you want to, be nice and not to put in there, these rules or whatever, but really have the phones on the counter or in a bowl in the evening, and don't let them take them to their room. It's very, very important.
Wow. Out of all the things, I got to be honest, that wasn't one that came to the top of my head, but now you say it kind of makes sense,
Makes
right?
sense.
Yeah, because they're alone and
Yeah.
people stink. So you got 3 awards for that. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Well,
And-
not for that one in particular, but we did get
Yeah.
Yeah. And then something else that was great that we did this year, a great accomplishment, we've been wanting to do it for a while, is a training video for law enforcement. And what it
Okay.
is there's a lot of promotions, there's a lot of retirements, there's new people coming in, job changes, things like that. And so we need to let law enforcement know what Crime Stoppers can do for their agency. So we created that with 3 of our board members who are retired law enforcement, and they helped with, they bring that credibility to our program,
Sure.
having retired law enforcement on there. So
All right, hold on a second. So part of Crime Stoppers' job is maintaining the job transfers and retirees and keeping them up to date with what you're doing.
with what we do.
All right, and then those people have the opportunity to volunteer once they retire into Crime Stoppers if they want.
Oh, sure, they could approach us and see if they want to participate with Crime Stoppers. Sure, other Crime Stoppers programs have law enforcement on their board of directors that are active. They just don't have a vote.
I got you.
On things.
No, I just like how, because it was like, I was like, man, if that works that way, that's a super smooth transit. Like if they want something to do, because most people are like, God, what do I do when I retire?
Yeah,
and
if
I
they
was
wanna
just
help
like,
the
wow,
community.
that's kind of almost like here, we can
Yeah.
still use your help, and you're still like in it, but
Yeah.
then they don't have to be the person that gets beat up every time. It's just I couldn't, having a job that you go in and you could literally get beat up every single day, and people tend to hate you for doing what you're doing. Like I respect that, right? I really respect that because it's tough. It's super tough.
Yeah, it's a hard job.
Yeah, it is a hard job. That's why I respect it. Because out of all the jobs to pick, like when I was a younger man, could I have done it? Absolutely. Military guy and veteran and blah, blah, blah. And absolutely. But as an older person, I'm like, hard sub. Let's get some of them younger boys in there and get that in there.
It's
And
a life of service.
Yeah, and it was different back in the 80s and 90s than it is now. The respect factor and all that was different than it is now. So you're dealing with those changes and kind of seeing how you're doing all that stuff's kind of neat.
We like to know that Crime Stoppers is that avenue between the community and law enforcement. So law enforcement, it reduces their workload if they get a tip that helps them solve that case faster. Boy,
Yeah.
that's great, right?
Yeah.
Reduce their workload.
Yeah.
But another reason why we were saying that our tips were a little bit lower is because in Flint, the Flint Major Crime Unit, which encompasses Flint Police Department and Michigan State Police, the detectives there at that bureau, they're doing an amazing job solving the crime this year. So the homicides that have
Wait a minute, was that a
occurred-
compliment to the Flint Police Crime
Excellent.
Day?
Yeah. We're
I just want to
why-
throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, we always do. It just at this year, it's great to see. Like we almost have a justification of why our tips are lower. Is they're actually solving these cases.
Wow.
And so there's just a few of them that we need to work on. But they've been doing an amazing job.
Man, that is super great.
Yeah.
So all those things happened this year.
And you saw that you saw one of our public service announcements. But we had
Yeah, hold on. I
taped-
got to tell this commercial too, because she doesn't like to brag about herself, but I do, because I know the coolest people. So I'm sitting at breakfast with my friend, and we were talking about something for jail ministry, right? And yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, I'm like, stop. I know that person. I've interviewed them. They're awesome. And it was so funny. So, like, the whole restaurant's like, oh, and so we got
Oh, my
the whole,
gosh.
Yeah, I was a nerd. I know that person. She's
funny.
cool. Yeah, I'm going to embarrass you because you
Oh,
deserve
well,
it.
thank you.
No, thank you for what you're doing. It was a great moment. Anyways, and if you had been there, you'd have been completely embarrassed. So this is the only chance I get. So.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I do like to bring other people into those public service announcements. The family members of the homicide victims. Those are difficult tapings for them.
Sure.
So I do my best to prepare them, and it's a short script, and it's on a teleprompter, and they can take as many takes as needed.
Yeah.
All of our television stations are really great with working with the families
Yeah.
and understanding that this is a difficult thing to do.
Sure.
And then I'd mentioned that we had done one with the sheriff's office ghost team.
Yeah.
And then my tip law enforcement coordinator / liaison, Al Jakubowski. We did one on gun safety because he retired from ATF, and that's what they do there with weapons. And so he's an expert on that. And he's like, lock up your guns, keep them away from kids, keep your kids safe. And then one with Karma Lewis, who is the president of the Flint Neighborhoods United, and among many, many other titles that she has.
Right.
So bringing other people into these public service announcements, and I think we taped 19 new ones this year.
Wow.
And then we can still recirculate some of the other ones like holiday safety and things like that.
That's pretty neat. And you know what's funny is like until you mentioned it, I didn't look for them, and then I was looking for them. I'm like, man, these things are everywhere, right? It would, especially the billboards downtown. We were looking, you know.
And that's the one that we won for the national award was because, Crime Stoppers programs, what we do is that we highlight unsolved cases, but the two that we won the award for was basically that we're doing other things for awareness. So the two that we had submitted, one was on holiday safety, like don't, shop with a friend, don't walk to the parking lot alone. If you're going to, make sure you're aware of your surroundings.
Okay.
Cover your belongings in the back of your car, on the back seat or those things. And then the other one was catalytic converters on, people are taking catalytic converters. And so we worked with law enforcement, and
that was a thing downtown for like 2 months.
Yeah, and it's a problem, and what's difficult is it's hard to solve those cases, but you can do some things to prevent that. And so that's another one of the public service announcements.
What do you do to prevent that? Because that's a handy piece of information.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
because you got to
park
have
in a
it.
garage, right? If you can. But a lot of people don't park in a garage.
Yeah, downtown,
right?
that's not an option.
Okay, so you can, law enforcement told me this, spray paint your catalytic converter like a bright green color or something like that. Because when somebody goes to take it, they're like, oh, I might not be able to sell this one.
Because it's bright green?
Because it's bright green, and it's like, who would be doing that? So it's going to be obvious that it's stolen. And so somebody's not going to want to buy that.
I got you.
Park in a well-lit area. Those are like the main things, really.
Don't have a catalytic converter.
Scratch the VIN number into your catalytic converter was another suggestion that they gave.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So
then they can't sell it. And then they'll know if they try to sell it, then they'll know what vehicle it was stolen from.
Oh, right. And they could actually backtrack that.
Yeah.
That's all smart stuff. Because that was a thing. I remember a bunch of waitresses getting theirs taken out. It was a rash thing for a couple months, and I went out. Man, you know what? That's neat. Just a new way to look at the same problem to help people be safe.
Yeah. How much more time do we have? I got a couple more fun things to talk about.
Oh, we got a lot of time. We're only getting ready to come up on our second break, but before we did that, I wanted to ask you, what was the very next thing you got coming up? Like, what's first on your list this year?
We are going to have a first fundraiser. We're gonna have, so I'm working on planning that. We've never had to have like an event, but it's going to be super fun. It's not set in stone yet, so but I could talk about it another time. But that's going to be a fun event, fun fundraiser.
I'm in on that. I'm definitely in. We can definitely help on that. Well, we do have to go to our next break. These things always do end up going fast when you're hanging out with your friends talking about cool stuff. So this is your first time, please go to UCANMichigan.com if you know someone that is struggling with drug rehabilitation or alcohol. If you know someone that can help us help others, please go to Spiritual Warfare Unit on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Sit tight. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to the Warrior's Way. Our warrior this week is Julie Lopez from Crime Stoppers of Flint.
.com.
CrimeStoppersOfFlint.com. And we were just talking about something very exciting that we got to talk about later, and I can't wait to be involved with that. That sounds so much fun. Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Anyways, we can't talk about it now. Moving on.
Well, we can talk. I'll throw this out there. It's going to be a whodunit. It's going to be a fun fundraiser.
Yeah. So a whodunit fundraiser.
Yes.
Oh God, I can't wait to be involved.
It'll be a silly little crime, kind of a fun thing. Nothing serious.
Definitely want to be the bad guy. So
do too much serious stuff as our job. We want to have some fun with it.
Oh, it's gonna be. Are you kidding? It's gonna be right. You should have seen the smile on her face when she called. Like it's gonna be a blast. I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be really great. And looking forward to May and doing that. I can't wait to be help. All that's gonna be fun. And so, anyways. You still had other stuff on your list that you wanted to talk about, so we got through that. We got through the fundraiser, which is going to be great. A whodunit, it's going to be great. Evening, are people going to have to dress up as like black tie thing or just?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, the cape, with the, they got the high level nerdery going on. Oh yeah, I can already see it now. Anyways, it'll be a blast. Anyways, I'll shut up. I'm having more fun with your stuff than you are right now. Sorry. Anyways, so the next thing that you had on your list was?
Well, we have a new platform that we are using. There's no charge to Crime Stoppers programs to be highlighting unsolved crimes on this platform. It's called Crime Crushing.
Crime Crushing.
Yep, crimecrushing.com. And it's a platform that we can upload our unsolved crimes to. And then it's a fun incentive for it, for people who like to be their own sleuth and try to, they're not able to submit a tip on this platform, but they're able to share the information. So if anybody else has that information, they'll share it, and then maybe you'll get a tip on our Crime Stoppers program if somebody knows something about a fugitive that's anywhere in the world,
right?
But we are looking for them.
Because you know what that sounds like to me when you said that? First of all, I think of that Candy Crush. That's where my brain went. But the second thing I thought is you know how they have those groups where they have like independent sleuths come together and they try to solve a case? That's what that sounded like to me. It was like, well, you got 10 of them.
Yeah, you got people who are interested in looking at all these unsolved crimes.
Like, I wouldn't love to do that at all. But there are groups.
There are people who love this.
That love that stuff. Yeah. And that's what that sounds like, where it's like, oh, yeah, we have our sleuthing group of Flint.
It's brand new, actually, this past year. And so we were probably the first big program to utilize it. Yeah. And so, so that's going well.
Yeah, if that's going in that way, that sounds actually like it's fun where you get together. Like imagine people going out to the bar after work or whatever, and you got your 10 friends, and, oh, did we get any work farther on this? But it's an actual crime, right? And they're trying to figure it out. That's where my brain went with that one.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, they can't submit a tip on there, but they can look at the crime, they can do their own investigation, or they can try and share it to other people in that location. Right. So that's been good. And then I have a couple of funny things. Well, one funny thing and then one serious but great thing that happened. Right. We had a fugitive that we had put out. And when a fugitive is arrested, we will put arrested or in custody across the poster, but then we take it down after 24 hours just for legalities, I guess. Okay. If they get their warrants cleared, we don't want them out there on our platform any longer. Right. That's just the way that we do it with our program. Sure. But we thought it was kind of funny because this one fugitive had a birthday coming up, and so we usually put their age on there, and we're like, well, what do we do? It's a couple of days away, and this person's going to be 40. And so I normally don't do this, but it was fun to say, well, hey, this guy's having a birthday in a couple of days. Let's wish him a happy birthday that I'll never forget. And it got a lot of traction. And what was funny about it is the fugitive laughed at, put a laughy face on Facebook about that. So we're like, what? Wait.
He put a laughy.
He laughed at it.
So he put a laughy face on his happy birthday that Crime Stoppers gave him while they were looking for him.
We thought that was pretty funny. I mean, he did get arrested, so that was a good thing. We took it down.
That's still funny.
I know, yeah. We're like, whoa, we didn't know that he was following our page.
Hey, for all you know, it could have been the only person wishing him a happy birthday. You don't know. You know what I mean? That life could be very, very solemn, Yeah. So for all I know, that's how it happened. That's super interesting. Now, was that the serious or the funny one?
That was the funny one.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No, the other one that happened, it was a really good story, outcome about connections, and that's what you do. You bring people together. And 2 years ago, there was a 5-year-old who was shot in a drive-by. He was sleeping in his bed, and somebody shot up the house, and he was injured. And he's 7 years old now. He survived, but he's paralyzed. And law enforcement and the family had decided that they wanted a press conference, a Crime Stoppers press conference for this, which was my first press conference for a survivor, because we usually do them for families of a homicide victim.
Yeah.
So having a survivor was kind of, I was a little nervous about doing it, and especially he's 7 years old.
Well,
so,
I thought that would actually be better.
well, just putting the survivor out there, but they didn't think they were very confident he wasn't the intended target, so there wasn't going to be anything. So anyway,
Retribution
we did this. Okay. Yeah, we did this, and I happened to run into this officer at Flint Police Department, because this is where the press conference was. But I ran into this officer, and he's just like, "Well, how's it going?" And I was in a zone because I was getting ready for the press conference, so I was a little mentally focused. And I saw him I'm having a press conference, and he said, "What case?" And I told him what case, and he's like, "Where did it happen?" And I told him what, and he's like, "You're kidding me! My partner and I were the first on the scene."
No way.
And he said, "I've always wondered what happened to him."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, he's going to be here any minute." So they actually got to meet.
Aww.
And the grandma was crying.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really emotional.
Making me cry right now.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And so then we had that press conference, and it went really well.
So hold on, you can't just skip over the interaction. You had to be there when they saw him.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It meant a lot to the officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it meant a lot to him, because him and his partner, that's a rough day for them, really.
Yeah.
Think about it. They're
A 7-year-old gets shot.
7-year-old
Yeah.
shot.
Or 5 at the time.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. So that was. He's like, can we get our photo? And I'm like, let's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on our Facebook page, actually.
That's super
and so
cool.
then it even gets better.
Okay.
We highlighted, the case, trying to get it solved, bringing awareness to the situation, to gun violence, and then ABC 12 actually had a town hall for breaking the silence on gun violence, and they wanted to highlight a case prior to that. So they even went more in depth on this, and we went to their home, and interviewed the family and myself and Al, who does the tips, retired from ATF, and so they did another story on that.
Wow.
And that went really well, and it was great to see him. And
can they find that clip?
Yeah, you can just just go. That's all on our Facebook page also.
Okay.
And it's on all the television stations.
Crime Stoppers of Flint.
Yeah, and TV5, Mid Michigan Now, ABC 12, they all, and MLive, Flint Journal, they all covered this.
Oh,
this
great.
Case. And so his name is Pete. His nickname is Pete. And he's absolutely just the sweetest kid. So when we were at the house, I was just like stunned that the family has to carry this boy up and down the stairs every day because his bedroom is upstairs, and he's paralyzed from the waist down. And so how does this happen?
Yeah.
Like, this is a huge, huge amount of work for this family.
Sure.
Well, anyway, I'm like just asking, anyway, she had tried to get a stair lift before, I guess. Yeah. And I don't know what happened with that, but she did call another company this was a couple weeks after all of this other stuff happened. And she contacted this family, and she had this person over to take measurements. And I didn't know any of that was happening. She had called me right before Christmas, and she said that the only thing she told the salesman, because he asked what happened, how was he paralyzed, she said he was shot. That was it. Come to find out, I talked to the salesperson after this. Come to find out, he was just curious what happened, so he Googled his name.
Yeah.
And he saw all the news stories.
Yeah.
He called his boss in Florida. The boss called the operations manager, and they called her immediately and donated the whole thing.
Shut.
And that was on a Thursday. She called me on a Friday morning. And by Monday, the stair lift was installed in their home. I'd love to give them a plug. It's Acorn Stair Lift. And I asked them. Yeah, I contacted.
Like ACORN?
Yep, I contacted the sales rep, And I asked him, thank you. For,
Yeah, but how?
And that's when he told me the whole story, how he didn't know anything about it except he Googled it. And so this goes to show collaboration with the media, putting this out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was $13,000.
Yeah.
And so now, and it was installed the Monday after. So within days, they had a stair lift. I was just like, it was absolutely wonderful. And it was right before Christmas. And what a blessing. And I want to thank everyone involved because good can come out of bad.
So all of that, hold on. All of that happened because you guys were just doing a revisit on 2 years later?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't even know about the case because there are several shootings.
Yeah.
And I don't know about all of them. And so the detective said, a lot of times they don't bring Crime Stoppers in for something like this until all of their leads, have dried up or, they need more information.
Right.
And so that's when they did this. And it's like, and the grandmother and I were talking about it before the press conference. And I said, I'm sorry I didn't know about this case ahead of time, but I do believe in timing and that we don't understand why things happen at different times.
Yeah, so the salesman comes in, he sees this, he asks the name, Googles the kid, says, call the owner, this is an amazing story, bop, bop, bop. Yeah. And that all happened right around Christmas.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You can't even make that up. It's like it's one of those Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and on top of it, I mean, just it started with the officer who helped save his life.
Yeah.
Randomly meeting him. I mean, this is just so that was a good day, and that is what I call a success.
We gotta go to break. We gotta go to break. That's a success. I gotta cry. All right, sit tight. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Aaron with UCAN. We're down here at the Unity Fest the Heart of Flint is putting on, Kersley Park Pavilion over here on the east side. Doing a lot of great things out here with a lot of great people. There's all types of vendors, people giving away food and water and clothing, just a lot of resources for the community. UCAN's out here and we're talking to a lot of people already whose loved ones have been afflicted by the disease of addiction. So we're able to get our information out, hopefully be able to provide resources to those folks in the future.
There's freedom in your name, Jesus. There's freedom in your name. You break every
All right, here we are at Unity Fest 2, and I'm here with the promoter, Jeremy. How are we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing great. We're here at the UCAN tent, handing out for United Community Addiction Network, getting everybody here helped out. It looks like a full house. How many people do you think are here?
Oh, a few hundred. We just opened, so I think it's going to get better, though, today. Cause
all right, and how many people you got playing today?
we have 3 artists. We got Shantae Music, and we have Nick Hill, who's out of Saginaw, and then End of I. I don't know who they are, but...
Yes. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Isaac Walsh, and this is The Warrior's Way. We are in our last segment with Julie Lopez from Crime Stoppers of Flint, and you can go to the website, crimestoppersofflint.com, and check it out. We are in UCAN Studios, and I got to be super honest, that last story still got me pretty emotional. I'm struggling with leaking on that one, and my eyes were all fogged up on that. So thank you for that story.
It's a good cry.
Oh yeah, like an ugly one too, you know. So we got that done, but I only got like 10 or 12 minutes. So there was so much more you could go into that story, but I want to move on because I want to give you the opportunity to like kind of set up the things you want people to know about that you're doing this year and the direction of how people can help and what kind of like the first thing I kind of want to talk about just a little bit is this fundraiser thing. Do you have a date set for that yet?
No, it's hopefully in June.
In June, okay. Man, that's kind of perfect. So it'll be a summer thing, which could be really fun with a whodunit. I like all of those things in there, and that would be fun. And then you have. So you said you go, hey, how are you people? They go to 30 or 40 different events. Are there like some events you want to make sure people know about that they can hit?
You know what? I don't have my calendar as far as what dates except our May 11th, of course, on Saturday at Burston.
Yeah.
But our Facebook page
Okay.
It's always up there. And then we have a kiosk in the center of Flint Farmers Market. And that
I did not know that. Where at?
It's right in the center. I don't know how to
Like
else
which?
describe
Do you remember
it.
which?
It's like in between. It's like in one of the aisleways.
Okay, like by the hot dog guys or by the cinnamon bun people or. I don't know.
I know there's the stone.
Oh, okay.
The stone place where they.
I know
sell
exactly
the-
what it is. So that's two up. I'm there a lot, just supporting our
And then there
local-
is the vegetable stand right there too.
And those bacon hot dogs are really good.
Okay.
Anyways, so there's a kiosk in there, and what is
and
that
on the
for?
kiosk, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
freestanding unit where we have 3 different screens, and they scroll with unsolved crime, community events, awareness campaigns, and then there are QR codes on there,
Okay.
and you can scan that and walk away, and it's how to submit a tip.
Oh, okay.
You're not submitting a tip on the kiosk. It is not interactive that way because who would do that, right? You're not going
Yeah.
to submit a tip, and that doesn't make any sense. It's not anonymous, but you can scan it and walk away,
Okay.
and it'll take you to our P3 app, which is completely anonymous.
Okay.
Or you can walk by and you can look at it and see, what fugitives are wanted or what unsolved homicide. We update this regularly, and it scrolls for about 20 seconds or so.
Okay.
And that has community events on there. And then we also, of course, thank all of our
And
sponsors
then you guys
on
got
there.
a phone thingy too, right? Like an app or something?
We have different ways to submit tips, calling 1-800-422-JAIL, which is 5245. And that's a call center in Canada, completely anonymous, no caller ID, nothing is recorded. They don't write down if you're a male or female calling in, nothing like that. It's completely anonymous. We have the P3 mobile app, and then we also have p3tips.com.
All right, and then explain just real quick again, because you did it last time, and I think we should do it here, is how is it that people get their money if it's completely anonymous?
So when they call in or they submit a tip on one of those sites, they are given a tip number. And you have to log back in to P3 with your tip number and your code that you put in. It's all
Because
secret
actually,
squirrel.
that was the one I was asked the most afterwards.
Yep, it is, and it is completely anonymous. We don't track IP addresses. Like I said, we don't have caller ID, nothing like that. And then they log back in with their tip number. They would contact us through that method or call the call center again. And then if the tip helped lead to an arrest, now some of them take a lot of time. Drug tips take time. Homicide tips take time. Fugitives sometimes get done right away if they know where they are at that moment.
Sure.
Then they act on that right away. But the investigations can take some time. So like that one I talked about, the PlayStation, I think that crime happened in 2019. And we awarded, that tip in 2023.
Wow.
So sometimes these take time.
Yeah.
And so then they are given instructions on where to collect their cash reward. And then we don't keep track of who they are and nothing like that. So
Yeah, no, that information was all available because that was the number one. Well, if they don't keep track, and it's like, this is how they do it.
Yeah.
And my favorite answer is when they went, oh. And I'm like, yeah, it's been thought through. They do stuff.
it's very much thought through.
No, and it's a great idea, and it works, and that's what matters. And the fact that you guys are nationally awarded with your ideas, I love it.
Thank you.
It makes perfect sense knowing who you are. And then you didn't want to include your workload, but I did want to talk just a pinch about the position now. What is it nationally that you have to do?
Oh, well, I'm on the board of directors for Crime Stoppers USA.
USA.
Yep.
Which requires you to do repeat what you're doing here just nationally or what?
So Crime Stoppers USA, we have, I think, 26 people on the board from all over the country, including Guam. And, it's just amazing group of people. And we're all very passionate about Crime Stoppers, and everyone on the board has to be associated with their own local program. So I'm the regional director, which is I cover Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, and it's not any jurisdiction that I have covering them or anything. It's just that I share best practices with them.
Sure.
I let them know what's going on at the national level.
Right.
I let them know, like if you are a Crime Stoppers USA program, like you pay dues into this, we're a member-based program, then you have legal aid. So if I've got any questions about legal issues, then I'm able to contact this retired judge who knows everything about Crime Stoppers. So there's a lot of benefits at that.
Nice.
And then I'm on the social media committee and the conference committee, and
you fit all that in while doing all this.
Yeah, but that also helps me, keep
It's not
connected
an
with-
answer. Just so you know, like that's like you sound like you were a very busy human being.
Yeah, we have, again, at the national level, a great team. So, yeah.
Yes.
And it helps because not a lot of people have our job.
Yeah.
So, like, my BFF in Crime Stoppers is the central, Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers, and she's got the same job that I have, just down there. So we're talking about maybe being like sister programs or something. We work, since we do everything the same.
Yeah, theirs is just hotter. Like the weather's just roasting in Mississippi.
Yeah, I went and visited her last year. It was great.
We
went and saw her kiosks.
Oh,
so
there
she's
you
got
go.
kiosks also. So she's like, "Are you sure you want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's what we do."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, last time I was in Mississippi was actually I was in a restaurant and the guys pulled their revolvers out and set them on the table. I'm like, what are those for? They're like the snakes. And I was like, time to go. That's like literally, I was like, wow, it's just a different country down there. It's really crazy, Mississippi. Now, mind you, it was not downtown Mississippi, but it was in the rural area. But I just eating country fried steak and they had their gun on the table for snakes, and that was normal to them. That was just not something you deal with in Flint. Out of all the things, we don't have a lot of snakes, which is a good thing. Moving on. Anyways, so you have the national thing you're doing, the regional thing you're doing, the local thing you're doing, the fundraising that you're doing, the philanthropy, the PSAs. Did I miss something?
Well, that's all my work stuff.
Oh, so we finally get to do the rest of it.
Well, I'm doing some things on a personal level.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So one of the things that you talked about last time, and knows one of the answers, it's okay, I'm just telling you ahead of time, is you did horticulture. Mm-hmm. And you said some of the things that you would do was the flowers with the colors of the people, right? Which I thought, I had to tell that story to a bunch of people because it...
Oh, like a memorial garden?
Yeah, when you said, oh yeah, they like these colors and I got these flowers for this thing.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
So I am...
Because it's amazing, right?
I'm a horticulturist at heart. So I do, and my, when I worked at a garden center, one of the favorite things to do was, in a weird way, it sounds weird though, is memorial gardens. And so, yeah, it's like, what's your grandmother's name? What's her middle name? When's her birthday? When did she pass away? What color was her favorite color? Those things, and then work that into a garden. It's very meaningful. And so, yeah.
And you're still doing that?
I do that a little bit, and I'm thinking about doing a little bit more. I get asked to do it often.
Like, you're the only person I've ever heard of. Like, I'm sure there's others, but like I was
I have friends it's horticulture
Yeah,
industry.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's a
whole
horticulture
industry.
Yeah. Well, I don't know any of those people.
Yeah.
And you're the only one I know, and I thought that was amazing.
Thanks.
And like, so any tips for people on how to like keep their stress down during the, you got the new... Because the new year, the first thing, new year, new me, and I'm going to do something else. And then a week later, they're like, right? And the weather kind of messes with people a little bit.
Right.
Any good tips for us?
Well, sure, if you're asking me on a personal level.
I don't know. You're smart.
Well, I believe in meditation and prayer. It can be prayer for some people, but meditation being silent, being quiet.
So how long do you meditate?
I talk a lot, so I need to be silent a lot.
Well, I think you have to talk a lot.
Yeah, like today I had it was earlier getting up here, making sure I got here on time and everything. Yeah. And so I made sure, I hit snooze a few times and I could have meditated longer, but honestly, I made sure that I did it for at least 5 minutes, and then I did some stretches and things like that. But I don't know if you've ever heard of anything called Qigong.
No, what is that?
It's spelled Qigong.
Okay.
And so Qi is energy and Gong is work of, and so it's energy in our
work
body.
Of energy.
And it's an ancient Chinese practice. And I became a certified teacher last year doing that.
In the middle of all this.
Yeah, it took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that's okay. I wanted to get it done in a couple of months, and it took like 9. So
9 whole months.
Yeah. But so that is what I do to help relieve the stress load that I carry.
And you find it very successful.
Yes. It's like taking the energy and just moving it from my, just take it out of my head and store it, and and it's wonderful. So
All right, I'm gonna have to Google that. What is that again?
yeah,
Qigong. Because
QI.
I think of Gong and I think of the Gong Show, and then Qi. So I'm like,
Gong is more the work of, it's like the energy.
Gong.
Well, think about it. When you get stressed, where do you carry your stress? Like in
my
your
neck and my
shoulders,
my head, man.
Right.
Right here.
So there's a lot of movements that we can do and flows that we do that help kind of move that through your body, and it's really amazing. You can
And you've
check
been
it
doing
out.
that for 9 months, you said?
The teacher training.
Oh, you
Teacher
teacher
training.
train. Of course you do. What was I thinking?
Well, I haven't started it yet, but you had asked about about gardening and
Yeah.
everything, and so with my sister's help, she helped me kind of create, because I said, well, I get asked to do gardening, and now I'm really looking at this qigong. Maybe I'm supposed to do that also.
Yeah.
And so I have the URL secured, but not a website yet, and she's helping me with my logo.
Okay.
And the new name is called Perennial Flow.
That actually makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Dude, when you get that up, you got to let me know. I will.
And I'll somehow incorporate it. Like, it's baby steps, right?
Of course.
So it's kind of like, you like this time of the year, sometimes the weather is not the greatest. It's gray.
Body doesn't
like,
like
how
to
do you
work.
how do you get unstuck? And you know what you do? Mood follows action.
Yeah.
Every day, make baby steps. So, like, all the things we did this year when I was here last, think about, each of these were little steps.
Yeah.
And you make a difference when you take baby steps. But if you're frozen because you're fearful or, or you just, depressed or whatever, is take a step. Mood follows action. Right. And I didn't know, I didn't want that teacher training to take that long, but I did. But guess what? It got done.
Right.
So anybody can make those steps,
right.
especially when you're doing this workload that we have. You want to make sure that your own self is healthy.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, when you're doing this, is like people require that energy from you, right? And it's like being sucked out of you, and you got to fill that back in, right?
Yep. And a lot of that is protecting your own energy also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, as a younger person, I'm like, yeah, but you're like an Energizer bunny when you're in your 20s, like that. It's like you can just handle it. 3 o'clock in the morning, you get up at 6 a.m. You go, as you start to get some experience on your life, it's like, man, when was nap time again? And do I have to have that
wrong
conversation?
With a power nap,
right? Nothing. What are you doing? Practicing? But like as a younger person, you don't get it because you've never experienced it. And then as you get more experience in this life, it's like, I got to keep this energy at this level for these people at this time. And then, because it's amazing how much that drains out of you, right?
Yeah.
It's just extraordinary. Listen, we got 60 seconds left. It was so good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I get to hang out with my friends who do cool stuff. I know the most amazing people. It's unbelievable. So we got to have you in here. Is there anything that you wanted to leave everyone with as a last little?
Honestly,
little
a thank you. A thank you to the community, to law enforcement, to everybody who spreads the word about this. It really helps. It helps. It's not only the successful tips that help lead to an arrest, it's the communication that we give to these families and bringing people together and the organizations together to help other people. That's what it's about.
That's it. And I love helping people. It's my most favorite thing in the whole world. Well, we are already out of time, but I want to thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time, please help us get the word out to help others. Spiritual Warfare Unit, like, share, and subscribe. We will see you next time. Do you have a nonprofit in your area that's doing a lot of work that people should know about? Feel free to contact Spiritual Warfare Unit at 810-715-9319, and we would love to have them on to see what good they're doing in the community and find out their story. Thank you so much.
Spent so much time believing the lies. I knew I wasn't meant to live this way, but my walls came down when your love shone through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way.